Some reform ideas. Now, I don't want to keep harping on the not-for-profit sector, but they are being attacked a little bit. A working group was established late last year, and that working group in the not-for-profit sector were given the task of saying, well, look, the government provide however many $1 billion worth of funding through these tax concessions, through salary packaging. How can we better deliver those or how can we better deliver those concessions without doing what we're currently doing through fringe benefits tax and a whole bunch of other measures? So they came up with some great ideas if you don't work in the not-for-profit sector. Currently there is a cap. If you work for a not-for-profit employer, you get a cap. A cap is an amount that you can package. It's $30,000, it might be $17,000. You can package a whole bunch of benefits that go to that cap, and generally you get a discount if you're a rebatable employer, so you might get a 48% discount. Or if you work for certain charities, you might not pay any tax at all on that. Now, some of the short-term measures, and there's a bit of a loophole currently in the FBT Act, and if you're in this space of the not-for-profit and you're doing this, just be mindful that the government know it's there and they're more than likely going to clamp down on it. If I work for a not-for-profit, I can package, as I mentioned, $30,000. It equates to about $16,000 of real dollars. So what a lot of people do, they might package their home mortgage. So if I earn 150 grand, my home mortgage is 50 grand, I only pay tax on $100,000. So I effectively get a tax deduction for it. So when you work out, well, I package certain items, it all forms part of a cap. So the idea is, well, what can I package that doesn't form part of that cap? Because I could go to town, I could effectively salary package my entire wage. So one of the expenses that you can package if you're in the not-for-profit sector is entertainment. That does not form part of your cap. So there are private rulings out there and public rulings out there that state that you could package weddings. You could go on a cruise ship and package the cost of that. You could effectively go on up to Hayman Island, rent yourself a little house on the beach there, hire a boat for the day. You have exclusive use of all that, and you can package all these items. In addition, there's companies out there that are spruiking these cards, where it's an entertainment type card, a Visa card, and you go along and you go out to dinner and you pay for all your expenses on these credit cards. They don't form part of your cap, so you can just you're effectively getting a tax deduction for all these costs. That's allowable currently. There's private rulings out there that state it's allowable. The government know that, and that's why they want to reform the way the not-for-profits work. And they're looking at bringing in entertainment in part of the cap, either removing the caps totally, so there's no more caps, subsidising the employer rather than the employee. Long-term measures, they're looking at actually, over a 10-year period, phasing out the caps, and if you work for a not-for-profit, maybe you get a tax offset, you get a reduced tax rate. But I think it's unfair that, that not-for-profits get these concessions, and they're talking about neutrality. How can one organisation in the not-for-profit sector compete with another sector when they're getting all these tax benefits? Another key thing, and we'll talk about that for those in the profit sector as well, is there's a minor benefit rule, and that is where you spend $300 or less, that is infrequent, minor and infrequent, then that's exempt from fringe benefits tax. If you work in the not-for-profit, it doesn't really work, that rule. They're looking at maybe making it applicable across the board. So these are some reform measures. There was submissions to be had at the start of the year. Again, a lot of these working groups do all this work and it just gets shelved, and with an election on the way, it'll probably be shelved. But I suppose the take away from this is that if you're in that category that package all the weddings and the holidays, etc., I would not be surprised if we have a clamp down on that very, very shortly, especially those entertainment cards where you can just keep racking up your entertainment, because the government have really highlighted that as rorting, as they quote, rorting the system. Now, just be mindful, if you do have those little credit cards and you do swipe them and you use your entertainment, the ATO are doing audit and they're looking at what are you using that credit card for. If you go to the shops and buy your groceries, that's not entertainment, but some people are using that for that purpose. So it has to be entertainment, like meals, going out to dinner, not for going to the Woolies and buying your fruit and veg.